So as we go deeper and deeper into this economic recession, I'm getting more and more worried about a whole bunch of different things, and I'm sure you are too. I'm getting into discussions about gas and about power, and I'll start making videos on all of these things. I want to just take a moment to talk about gas. I'm having a great discussion right now with David Smalley, a friend of mine, and he says that, and we're discussing about whether or not corporations are greedy because the gas companies are charging so much for the gas. And I got to tell you, people are just not thinking correctly about greedy corporations. And I wanted to make a point about greedy corporations. All corporations are greedy by design. You cannot blame a corporation for maximizing profit because that is their sole job, especially when it comes to publicly traded companies. Those board members are required to make the choice that maximizes profits all the time. They're not allowed to say, we're not going to charge as much as we can. And I think really people need to understand that. They're not allowed to do that. They're not allowed to take the high road. Corporations may not do that. If you're an investor and you invest in your stock into a company like ExxonMobil, would you invest in a company if they said, okay, well, we're not going to maximize profits for the good of the community? You probably wouldn't. You would invest with the company that maximizes profits. And here's the thing. If they don't maximize profits, these board members have a fiduciary responsibility to do that. They have the legal fiduciary responsibility to maximize profits. If they don't, stockholders can sue them personally. Think about what's going on with Twitter, right? A lot of the board members don't want to take that Twitter deal from Elon Musk, but they have to because it's financially better. They don't want to. They have to. They don't have a choice. It's the same reason that ExxonMobil and all these oil companies have to charge the maximum amount. Now, economics is based on supply and demand. We have an administration that is restricting future drilling, restricting future fracking, restricting future leases, and therefore restricting future supply. That's going to raise prices definitely. And blaming the corporations is wrong. It's wrong-headed. Dogs bark, okay? If you take your dog and you put it out in the backyard, it's going to bark. You can regulate it. You can take it inside. You can put a muzzle on it. You can put a big wall around your yard so nobody can hear it. But the one thing that you wouldn't want to do is put your dog in the backyard, and when your neighbors complain about the dog barking, tell your neighbors that you have a bad dog. That's stupid. Dogs bark. Corporations maximize profit. If you don't like it, too bad. They do. They will never take a less than maximized profit route because they cannot take a less than maximized profit route. So calling corporations greedy and shaming them is very wrong-headed. Yes, capitalism is exploitation, and yes, regulation is required to make sure that people aren't exploited. But the other side of it is, if we want corporations to succeed, we have to allow them to do their job. We can't say, okay, well, we're going to restrict your leases and then shame you when you react by raising prices because you have to, because supply is being limited. That's not business, okay? That's not economics, okay? Corporations maximize profits. They have to. Restricting anything that they do, that causes them to make less money will just cause them to react, and they don't have the ability to say no. They don't have the ability to be a fine, upstanding citizen. Corporations do not have that ability. They must maximize profits lest their board members risk getting personally sued by the stockholders. Own it. The problem is not in the economics. The problem is in the regulations. The problem is in supply and demand. That's why we have high gas prices, and that's why they're going to continue to go higher into the future, because we are limiting our future production and blaming the corporations for charging too much. That's asinine. So as we move forward into this recession, folks, we're going to get really edgy. Okay, it's going to get hard, and we're going to get really edgy. We're going to be at each other's throats. I'm at each other's throats, all right? I'm feeling it. I'm angry. I'm pissed off. I'm fighting, all the bad thoughts that are coming with the oncoming recession/depression. And I know everybody else is too. My job is relatively safe. I sell Medicare to poor people. So my job is going to be safe. If you would like to help, if you would like to sell Medicare to poor people, it's a great job for the recession. Come work for me. I'm hiring people. But that's not my point. My point is that the vast majority of people aren't going to have that job. The vast majority of people are going to be scared, and a large majority of people, a large percentage of the population is going to be unemployed very, very soon, and poor very, very soon. And it's going to be hard to keep from each other's throats. The only reason I say this is because we have to keep our heads. We have to come together. We have to stop hating each other. And that means looking at the data. And that means realizing that no side is right all the time and no side is wrong all the time. And that means realizing that when politicians play the climate game and blame the oil companies, we have to call them on that. We can't just defend it. Okay, we can't defend it even if it's our side. It's very, very clear that the restriction of future production will limit supply and therefore raise prices. That's not hard to see. And it's also not hard to see that corporations will do what corporations do. So we have to know that. But please stay calm, relax, and try and see your fellow human as a person instead of somebody who disagrees with you. This is going to get very, very tough. Gas is going to get very, very high. We're all going to be pointing the fingers. We're all going to be making our assumptions about who's to blame. We have to remember that we're all Americans. We're all in this together. And, I hearken back to my experience at Burning Man, which I think I mentioned in a previous video. When you're at Burning Man, the weather is the common enemy. The dust storms are the common enemy. And it joins everybody in this fight against the common enemy. We have a common enemy, and it's not the Russians, it's the economy. And I think that we need to hold tight with each other more. I think that's kind of obvious, but I don't think we're doing it. And I think that as we go through these discussions about, who's to blame for the gas prices, we need to humanize each other and keep each other calm. I had this discussion with David Smalley. We disagree. Smalley and I disagree on a lot of things, and we've been disagreeing on things for a couple decades now, I guess. He's a good guy. He means well. He's not stupid. We just disagree. He thinks the same thing of me. And I think that that's the attitude that we all have to take. So, Smalley, you're wrong. Again. But, Manishtana. I'll talk to you later.